Hi everyone, welcome to my second episode of the tutorials on 5 Linux commands you should know as a beginner in bioinformatics. I repeat, this is the second episode of my tutorials on 5 commands that you should know as a beginner when using Linux for bioinformatics. Now, you need to make sure you have Linux installed and you have opened your terminal like I have done. Or you can also use macOS, that's also fine. So either of them will work fine for you. If you're using Windows, then you can enable the Windows subsystem for Linux that will allow you to execute Linux commands. Or you can also set up a virtual Linux system. You can use tools like VirtualBox to help you do that. All right. Alternatively, there are online platforms that also allow you to execute Linux commands using your browser. So just check the description. I have to that show you how to use your browser to run Linux commands. So let's get started. Okay, so we will start. So let's look at it. This is going to be the first command we are going to use. The first command that we are going to use is wget. All right, so we will do it on a terminal. So wget allows you to download files. So if you have some files on a remote server and you have the download link, you can use wget to get these files. Okay, so that's what we are going to start with. So we are using Linux commands or utilities. All right, so this is one thing you must always know, okay, because you will definitely download files if you are dealing with bioinformatics data. So you need to know how to use this. All right, so let's do this. So with wget, we just type it like this. All right, that will give you some information that shows you how to get the help command. But then we are going to use an example data, a real world data. So we will need to get a link. wget, to use it is simple. Wget, and then you specify your link, the link to the file that you want to use. All right. So let's head to one of my GitHub repos. I have an example data that we'll use. So I want you to head over to this GitHub repo of mine. The link to this repo is in the description box. I repeat, the link to this repo is in the description box. So when you are here, look at this file. So there is one called myfiles.zip. All right, so that's what we are going to use to demonstrate how to use wget to download files. So when you are here, click it again. So when you click it, you'll be sent to this page. You will not see anything, but don't worry, everything is fine. So what we are going to do is to download the file using wget. That means we need to get a down link. All right, that's what we are going to do. So we will come back to this site. We will get back here. Let's just check it here. Come to this side here. All right, I repeat, come to this side. So when you are here, you see this raw button here. Right click it and then come to copy link. All right, this will allow you to copy. So I repeat, use your cursor or your mouse. Come to the raw button, right click and then go to copy link. So this will copy the download link for you. Then you can move to your terminal. All right, so on the terminal, what you do is to type wget and then you paste the link there. All right, so you paste the link. For me, I think my font size was big. That's why I have some of the text coming to the side. But just type wget and paste your link there. Anyway, to avoid confusion, I'll just minimize my font size so that we see everything on a single line. I think that will help because some people may end up getting confused. So I'll just minimize my font size here so that we see everything as it is. Let's do it again. Let's see. Yeah, nice. So this is what we have. So you should have something like this. So wget, and then you just supply your link like this, and that's fine. Okay, so this is how it's supposed to be when you're using wget. Okay, so once you are done with it, you can just hit the enter button, and this will download the file for you. It's a zip file, by the way. So all I want to do is to just download it. Okay, so it has been downloaded. I will switch back to the original font size so that we can continue. I think this was just for demonstration purpose. So it's done. All right, so let's continue. So the file has been downloaded. So if it's downloaded successfully, you will find this statement here. You'll find the name and then you see this zip saved. Yeah, you see this one here saved. That means everything has been done successfully. All right, so this gives us an opportunity to revisit our first episode If you have not watched that, please check the description. There's a link to that video. So to list the content of files, what do? We use ls. And so now that we have downloaded this file, we need to just check it out. So I can just say ls to see the file there. All right. Now let's do this. There is so many tests here. I want us to clear everything here. Let's resume this. So I'll just do a clear to clear it, and then I'll do an ls again to see the file. So this is what we downloaded. All right. So it's so cool. All right. So that's what you need to know about wget. So again, you just type wget and then you supply your link. So this will download everything for you. All right. So it's very simple and straightforward. For those who are struggling, I will still put the down link itself in the description box so that you can use that. So you don't need to even go to the GitHub repo. Just check the description box so you find the link that you can use directly. Okay, with wget. All right. So that's it. So with wget, it's possible to add other options. For example, you can download and then move this file to a different directory. You can also download and rename at the same time. But these are things that we will cover in later tutorials. Or you can also check it out. If you use wget-help, you have options that will come and you can just look at them. All right, but if you still have issues and you want one-on-one sessions on these kinds of tutorials, then you can always reach out to me. We can work further. But for the most part, this simple command should work for you as a beginner, unless you want some additional functionality. But this one should work for you. All right. So let's proceed. The next command that we will look at, let's check it out. I'm going to display it on the screen for us to see. So this is the next command, and that is curl. Okay, curl is also a utility that is used to download files from the internet. All right, so it works almost the same way as wget. All right, so in Linux itself, in Linux platforms, chances are you have wget installed. In macOS, you have curl already installed. All right, so I'm just showing these two utilities so that depending on the system, you know which of them to use to download your files. All right, or if it's a single file, so you just download it. So let's move back to the terminal and then use curl. So we are still going to use the same data that I showed. Let me just go back. I'll just go back here. I think I'll just visit this repo again so that we just see it, so that we just restart. All right. So we are going to download this file, okay, using curl. Again, I repeat, the link to this repo is in the description box. The file we are going to use is on one of my GitHub repo, which is here. So if you want to get this repo, just check the description box. The link to this page is there. You can use that. So when you are here, click on my file.zip. That's what we are going to use. So click it, and when you click it, you'll get this coming up. And then to get a link, we are going to use the down link, by the way. So come to the right side and then look at raw. So right click it and then go to copy link. I repeat, when you are here, right click and then go to copy link. So this will copy the down link for you. I also try to put the down link in the description box for you to use. All right. So that's it. So let's get back to the terminal and then let's use curl. So to use curl, you just type curl like this, and then what do? You just supply your link like this, and you say --output, and you give it a name. So with this one, I'll give it a different name. So I'll just say, let's say files.zip. We already have my files.zip, so I'll use files.zip. So this is going to be the final command to download this particular file using curl. Again, I'll just try to reduce the font size so that beginners will still know that everything is supposed to be on the same line. So I'll just reduce everything. We should see everything on the same line. So this is how it's supposed to be. It's small, but you can manage. So curl, you supply your down link, and then you say --output, and you give the output name. All right. So this is how we use curl to download files. Okay. Now, instead of --output, you can also say -o like this. This will also work for you. So if you want to shorten it, if you want to avoid too much typing, you can just use -o, lowercase o. I repeat, -o, lowercase o, and that will also download for you. All right, so that works. Now, this approach, in some situations, this particular approach may not work for you, okay? But one which works on Linux systems especially is a different approach. This approach may or may not work on a Linux system, and also I'm sure it will be the same on a macOS system. And so if you, let's say you use this approach and it doesn't work, then you have to use this approach which actually works. All right, so I'm going to show you this other approach which works for curl. All right, so you try this and you can try the other one, and then you can just compare. But the other one I'm going to show you works for the most part. So don't worry, don't get confused. I'm going to give you all the necessary information that you need to use curl. Okay, so I'll clear this, and then I am going to redo it again. This is just a demo. I'm going to redo it again, but this time I'll just enlarge it so that we see what is happening. I'll just increase the font size again to 23. That should be fine. Okay. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to use this approach which actually works 100%, especially if you are downloading files from GitHub. This works. So I'll say curl, I'll supply the link like this, and then I'll say -l o, -l o. Okay, -l o is going to help us. So this is going to be it, and I'm going to specify the output file. And then what I will do is to specify the output file. So, you know, the first one we had what? Let's check it here. I think the first one we had what? My file was zip. So we'll use a different name here. So I'm going to say files.zip like this. So this approach works for you if you're using a Linux system. All right. So again, I'll try to decrease the font size. I just want to try and switch so that beginners know what is being done. I think it's better that way. All right, so this becomes the final command. So curl, you supply your link and you say -l o. The L is uppercase and the O is lowercase, and you indicate the file name, the output name. So this is going to be the final command. All right, so you can execute this command, and then you can see the progress. So if you look at the progress, you see the file size also being indicated. And so that will tell you that everything is okay. But if you see just 00, that means that there's something wrong. And so the previous command I showed, you would have gotten 00 all throughout, but this one works fine. So that's why I had to show you this other approach too. So if you use the first approach, which we didn't run by the way, if you use it and it doesn't work, just try this. This one is going to work. Now I'm going to reverse and change the font size again. Let's see. All right. So now if you do an ls, you are going to find the other file there, which is this one here, files.zip. All right. So they are all the same, but the names are different. It's just to allow me to show you how to use different utilities to download files from the internet. All right, so this is curl for you. Okay, now let's do this. Let's look at the third command, which is going to be a follow-up to what we are doing. So the third command is what? Unzip. All right, so unzip, if you have files which are in the zip format, these are files which have been zipped, they have been compressed. So files that are compressed, let me just say zip files. If you want to extract the content, if you want to decompress them, we say unzip. So you can use this unzip command to extract the contents. That means you're unzipping. And that is why I had to let us download a zip file, which is this one. Okay, this, and they are all zip files. And so this allows me to also show you how to use the unzip function or the unzip command. So if you want to unzip, that means that you want to decompress, you want to extract the content. So I'll just try with files.zip. So I can just say unzip, and then I'll just say files.zip. So if I execute this command, then I'm going to see some stuffs coming up. That tells you the files or directories which are being extracted. Okay. And so now if I do an ls, I'm going to find several files here. I have some directories. I also have some files. All right. So these are cool things that we are doing. So this is how we unzip files using the unzip utility. Okay. It's very, very simple and easy to use. So next time, if you see a file which has the extension .zip, it's likely that it's a zip file. So if you want to extract the contents, then you can just use unzip to do that. We have a lot of bioinformatics files or outputs that come as zipped. So if you want to get the files themselves, you just have to unzip them. And that is what we have done. Now, let's clear the screen. Let's do an ls one more time. And then let's move to the fourth command. And the fourth command is rmdir. rmdir. So this command is used to remove directories, all right? And not just any directory, it's used to remove empty directories, all right? Now let me show you how it's done. Let's go back to the terminal. From the ls command we did, we have some directories here. We have 4 of them, okay? So let's ls into bioinformatics. We have a file in there. Let's ls into FASTA. With FASTA, there is nothing in it. And so this one, we have, it's not empty. That means we have a file in it. It has an entry. This one, FASTA, there's nothing in it. And that's why the ls return nothing. All right. So I'm going to use these 2 directories. We even have some here as well. I'm going to use them to demonstrate to you how to use the rmdir command. But let's also ls into sequences. So ls into sequences, it's also empty. ls into vcf, we have some files in there. It's just one, so a file. So I'm going to use rmdir. So rmdir, let's start with, let's say I want to remove bioinformatics. If I say rmdir and I specify the directory, let's execute it. What do we see? It says fail to remove bioinformatics directory not empty. So this is what I was referring to, that the rmdir command is used to remove empty directories. If the directory is not empty, like in this case, in bioinformatics, if you ls into it, you see a file called variant.csv. So that means that directory is not empty. And so this rmdir command is not going to work. You can also try with vcf, and it's going to do the same thing, because with the vcf, there's also a file in there. So we can remove it. Anyway, I'll come back to how to remove non-empty file. But for now, let's move to how we can correctly use the rmdir command. So the rmdir command is for empty directory. So FASTA, let's try it. If I say rmdir FASTA, you can choose to do this, or you can add a slash. It doesn't make any difference. So rmdir, if I execute the command, it's gone. All right, because this is an empty directory. If I do an ls now, there is no FASTA directory again. The same thing if I say rmdir and I say sequences, I execute it, it's also going to be removed or deleted, because these are empty directories. Please take note, in Linux, the rm commands, or the rmdir for that matter, that's now we are using rmdir. When you execute it, it's a point of no return. The files are removed permanently. So you should always be careful when using such commands. Just make sure you know what you are removing or deleting, because removing them is permanent. It's difficult to recover them. Okay, so that's it. That's for the command line. All right. Now, this is for rmdir. So now let's look at how to remove non-empty directories. Okay, so for that one, you will use rm or rm-fr. Okay, this one, there are other options as well, but I prefer to use the -fr, but you can use other approaches. But let's just stick to these ones. Okay, so let's move back to the terminal and then proceed. Okay, now before we do that, if you want to look at the help command, how to use it, you can just say rm-help. That will show you the available options you have. And so what I specified was -fr. So there's -f indicating false. We have the meaning here, and then we also have r, that's recursive. Remove contents of the directory recursively. That means remove everything in that directory as well as the directory itself. If you want to remove just the content and leave the directory, there are other ways to do it, but these are things we will talk about later on. But for now, we are going to remove the directory as well as all the contents. Okay, that's what we are going to do in this tutorial. Again, let's use clear. Let's just do an ls to see what we have, and then we can proceed. So now let's do this. For the rm command, let me just revisit again. The rm command is not just for directories. You can also use it for your individual files. Okay, so if it's individual files, the rm is fine. But if it's directory, then we add this one too. So I think I had to bring this to your attention so that you know that the rm command, this approach is useful if it's just a single file. All right. But if the file or files are in a directory and you want to remove those files as well as those directories, then you have to add the -fr. I can also use the r. All right, so let's get back to the terminal and then proceed. Okay, so we will start with the rm itself. So rm is used to remove files. And so if I want to remove this one here, files.zip, I can say rm files.zip. It's gone. If I do an ls, it's gone. All right. You can also remove more than one file. So I have this and this. I can even say rm gens count info.txt. Let's see. All right. So if I do an ls, both are gone. Okay. So you can also use that to remove it. Now there's something else you need to know. This one is also permanent. All right. But then you can add an additional layer. Okay. Just to confirm. So if let's say you want to just make sure you want to be asked a second time just to confirm the deletion of the files, then you can say rm-i, and we can say my file.zip. You can say my file.zip, and then you'll be asked this question here. Okay, so remove regular file, and you'll be given the name. All right, so if you do it this way, then that's what you have to do. So what you have to do is to just type y. So when you type y, that is yes. And now you can remove it. Okay, so here, if you have this prompt, you just want to just go back, make sure it's the right file you are removing or deleting. And you can just type y and then hit the enter. So once that is done, if you do an ls, you will see that the file is gone. That is for rm. Now, if it's a directory and you want to remove the contents in that directory, okay, I'll just try with this. Let's look at VCF. If you ls into VCF, you see this. If let's say we had maybe multiple files in this one, you just want to remove just one of the files, then it's still the same rm VCF and you specify it like this. So that means in this directory, you are removing just this content, this file here. So this one also works. So you can do it this way. So let's execute the command. If you do it, it's gone. If you ls into VCF, that is gone. Okay, so that is it. Now, if you look at bioinformatics, let's say bioinformatics, we have this. Now, if you have a situation like this where you are removing everything in that directory as well as the directory itself, then that's where the rm-fr comes in. All right, let's clear the screen. Let's do an ls. Let's ls into bioinformatics, and then let's do it. So if I want to remove the directory as well as everything in it, that one is rm-fr, and then I specify it. Of course, you can do just the r also, that also works, but I prefer to do -fr. So you have it like this, and you can hit the enter, and that is gone. Of course, you could also add a -i to just confirm, but I just did it straight away. So now if I do an ls, I will not see the bioinformatics directory again because I did -fr. It was recursive. So everything in that directory as well as the directory itself will be removed or deleted, and it's permanent. All right, so this is how we do it. Okay, so let's do one more cleanup. This time rmdir again, and let's remove this here because now it's an empty file. Perfect, so that has been done. Okay, so now if I do an ls, nothing is there. So we downloaded it, all the files. We have also processed them a bit, and we have also removed them. All right. So These are 5 commands that you should know as a beginner, okay, when using Linux for bioinformatics. Now, if you have not watched the first episode, please do that, because that will also give you the stats, and then you can also join me in the next episode. So in the next episode, I'll also give you additional 5 commands you can use. So it's something that I'll be doing routinely. I try to limit it to 5 so that beginners can quickly get it, can quickly grasp whatever I'm doing, and you can also practice. So that's what we have. Now, if you want the ebook for these tutorials too, you can just check the descriptions. I'll try to put some stuff there that you can download. And for those who also want to support me, just check the description. There are links you can use. Or if you also want to support me on Patreon, just check the description box for those links. And so that will be all for this tutorial, and I will see you in the next session.